calls. And I have to say once again, I can't tell you how excited I am that we are continuing this journey in the new year. I am thrilled beyond words. I seriously mean that, not just bone fluff. I mean it. I love being with you guys. And we'll have more concise stuff in the new year because we're going to have one solid training call and then one solid fireside chat call. So we're going to be able to do both, and it always works out well that way. Today's our fireside chat. So today we're going to see who's come to the table to play the game. That's what we're going to see today. We do have a call next week too, by the way. So we will finish up the year next week with a call. And then after that call, I'll be getting Linda. What I'm going to do is try to get you the dates for January, and we'll pick them. We'll talk about times and everything like that, and we'll figure it out.
Okay. All right. Yes, that's a great point. If anybody prefers a different time or day, let me know. If this isn't a good time that works for most, from the few that I've checked with, this is still a great time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's here in the Midwest. It's a lunch hour.
So you can eat and learn at the same time.
Yes, eat and learn.
Eat and learn. And Wednesdays, these time slots are really good for me because you guys have owned this time slot for the last 7-8 months. So if we keep it going, wonderful Wednesdays. There you go, Debbie. Wonderful Wednesdays. Lunch with Linda and Jerry on wonderful Wednesdays. Why not? I mean, eat and grow, not like grow, but grow while you're eating. I mean, that's a good thing. So if everybody's good with that, we'll keep him on Wednesdays, and we'll do 2 Wednesdays a month, noontime, your time, which will make it easier. If we're going to do that, Linda, I can actually, what would be easier for me is I'll get you dates for the first quarter. And then we can have all 3 months picked out, times in the calendar, make it way easier.
Let's do that.
Okay, we'll do that after. No problem.
Yeah.
All right, let's have some fun. Let's have some fun. Who's going to come to the batter's box first on Fireside Chat Wednesday? And Lord knows you've got Bahamas trips, you've got double volume going on, you've got all this fun stuff happening. And so I know there's got to be some stuff that's on your mind.
Before you call on me, Jerry, I've got a question.
Debbie, our friendship is just taken to a whole new level.
I was going to be the first one to unmute because I thought if there's too much silence, he's going to call on me anyway. So.
That's only because I love you, Debbie. That's all.
I know. I feel it. Thank you. And I agree with Linda. Your summit was awesome on Saturday. So
thank you. Thank you so much.
So this is really good and timely. A lot of my team have been, sponsoring PCs is great, but it's the consultants to help us grow and duplicate ourselves. So I know this question is going to help all of us here. But what we've been hearing a lot as when someone's interested, the one thing that comes back is, I just don't have the time. I'm too busy. Follow back up with me in 3 months. Okay, and now my team is saying, okay, what do you say back to that? And I do have a response, but I don't know. I mean, do you go back and push more? Do you, that's what I think people are stuck at right now. Because it's not so much I don't want to do that, unless they are just giving an excuse. It's more, oh, I'm too busy right now. I don't have the time. My kids with e-learning, just all that. You can make up any excuse, as you know. So I would love your help there.
That's good, Debbie. That's good. Now, I won't tell you what I would really like to say to them, which is probably what you would all like to really say to them. So we're not going to go there. But what we are going to do is we have to understand that we always have to be the professional network marketer, not the pushy network marketer that pushes people away. There are plenty of those people in our industry that will gladly do that for us. So we have to walk that line and remind ourselves, I don't want to be the piranha, right? Sorry to use that verbiage, but that's how I see some of them. I need to be the professional. Now, I don't have the time. I'm too busy. I've got all this stuff, call me in 3 months. The challenge that we have when we hear that, is that really true? Or is that a nice way of telling me to, get out, right? And the answer to the question is, you'll never really know the truth half the time. Is it really a true situation? Or are they just saying that to just get rid of me nicely? Unless you ask them flat out, it's hard to really know.
Right. May I interrupt you in 1 second? Sorry, sir.
You may.
The thing I have asked them is, what I've taught them are to say, gosh, I understand. We are all busy, and busy people do well in this business, period, and let them respond. And then sometimes, of course, they ghost, or they say, I'm just too busy. Like, I don't know if that's pushing, like the prana, I mean, it's soft, but there it is. To say that.
No. I always agree. This is what I've always taught people. First of all, see, now you got my mind going to like 30 different levels. Okay. I have to go down one path at a time. Okay. Thanks, Debbie. So the first thing that I always taught my people, I'm Moses. Okay. Let my people go. The first thing I always taught my team is to align with people. And alignment means I've heard you and I understand you, because that's really all people need. So when somebody says, I'm too busy, what is an alignment statement? Just what you said, Debbie. Debbie, I totally get it. I totally understand where you're coming from. Oh, girl, I know how you feel. That's an alignment statement. You're allowing them, you're recognizing what they said and not pushing it off the side. You're saying, hey, I understand it. That and that alone sometimes softens people, because people just want to push, and we're sitting here going, hey, Debbie, I totally understand that. I don't know anyone, including me, who isn't crazy busy with all the stuff we've got going on. I get it. Let me just ask you a quick question. Okay. If something doesn't change, when are you going to stop not being busy? If something doesn't change, when are you going to stop being busy? Okay. Because we're always going to be busy. The question is, do we always want to be this kind of busy? Because all I'm asking to do is not even to make a decision. Just let me sit down with you for 15 minutes. Let me just share with you what it is that we do. If it's for you, great. If it's not for you, that's fine as well. Either way, at least you'll know what we're doing. And then when and if the timing's better, then you'll know what we do. We can connect and we can do something if you want. But I always tried first to see if I could get my foot in the door. But this is just me. I only tried once, because any more than that, to me, became that pushy network marketing salesperson. Okay. I have a lot of other things to say, but I'm going to go back and forth with Linda, but let me just do this one more time. So I totally understand that, Debbie. I totally get that. But all I'm asking for is just 15 minutes. I just want to simply show you what we do. I think it would be a benefit, and it would help you be less busy and have more time. Now, if it's something you're interested in, great. If it's not something you're interested in, that's fine too. Either way, at least I've shared the information. At least you'll have it. And if anything changes, you can call me and you'll know exactly what we're doing, and we can do something at that time. Would you at least be willing to invest 15 minutes? Okay. Something to that extent is what I always try to do with people. Linda, I'm gonna let you go before I move on to another thought on that.
Well, everybody's busy, and I like to ask, what are you busy doing? And take a look at their calendar. I mean, really take a serious look, because a lot of times they're busy in their head, but they're not really busy with activity. And so can we clarify what busy means, to them? Because everybody's busy. And, they may be busy watching Netflix.
That's true though, right? And some of them are overwhelmed with things that are going on. So in their mind, if they're overwhelmed, that means that they're really busy. Yeah, I know your kids are going through distant learning, but you're not learning with them, right? They're there learning, you're there doing other things while they're learning. Okay, so you're right, Linda, you're right on the money. And if you feel comfortable, you can ask them, well, when you say busy, busy means different things to different people. Describe your busy to me. And then you get them to explain, describe your busy to me. Well, I got this, I got that, I got this, blah, 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 blah. And then you can tell, oh yeah, this person is truly busy, or wow, yeah, I mean, I'm really busy. I mean, my God, I have to go between Dr. Phil and Netflix. I mean, Dr. Phil sometimes has some great people on his show, but these Netflix shows, I mean, I'm so busy, my fingers are hurting from doing the remote back and forth, right? You just never know. So what does busy mean to you? Explain your busy to me, because busy is different things, different people. I love that, Linda. Explain your busy to me.
Well, and I think,
oh, go ahead.
well, I'm sorry. I think it boils down to priorities.
Right.
What is their highest priority? And it may be, Dr. Phil or Netflix, but so how can we now get to what do you really want from this business?
Right.
And how can we make this a higher priority? Because it's simply a habit. It's just exchanging it, for what you've had a habit doing, exchanging it for what that new thing is. Like Jerry said, what's going to change? And if you truly want the change, are you willing to do, what it takes? A lot of times it's just simply fear that is so overwhelming that they're just too scared to get started.
Here's another thing. No value in their own mind equals I'm too busy. They don't understand the value. They don't see the value. So why would they make time to sit down with you in the first place? Part of our job is we've got to share the value so that busy people will be interested to sit down with us. So part of that's on us, because we've got to make sure we share value with people and help them see that there's value in this. One of the questions I used to ask people, now, this is kind of a pretty bold and direct question. You might be at a place in your business where you're not quite comfortable asking this kind of question. That's okay. I always believe better to have the tool in the tool belt and not need it than need the tool and you don't have it. Okay. Just another tool. You may say, oh, I'm not using that thing now. That's okay. Put it in your tool belt. One day your confidence may be higher and you'll go, oh, I'm using that tool. Okay. This is what I used to ask people. Now, I didn't ask them right up front. I had to have some kind of camaraderie with them at some point. It wasn't just I just came out and asked this, but we were talking back and forth. At least I had a conversation, a dialogue. Okay. So this is a question I would ask. How long is it going to be okay for you to not have the time to do the things you truly want to do in your life? How long is it going to be okay for you to not have the time to do the things you truly want to do in your life? How long is that going to be okay? Because if you continue to stay busy the way you are, nothing will change. How long is it going to be okay for you to continue to be busy and not be able to do the things you really want to do in your life? How long is that going to be okay? And I would ask people that question sometimes. Sometimes they break down and cry. Sometimes that question would really just hit them. It's an emotional driven question. That's the purpose of it. How long is it going to be okay for you to be so busy that you don't have time to really do the things you want in your life? That's a powerful question. You know, you got to be in a place where you're comfortable asking that. But I ask of people all the time. I ask that of people that said, I don't have any money, right? Let me ask you a question, Linda. How long is it going to be okay for you to not be able to afford the things you really want in your life? How long is that going to be okay? And see, people say, wow, well, that's kind of a hard-nosed question. No, that's an honest, truthful question. We're just afraid to ask the truthful questions. Nobody's ever asked somebody that question before. How long is it going to be okay for you to not afford the things you really want to afford in your life? Because if nothing changes, nothing changes. So how long is that going to be okay? Those are two really power-packed questions that you can ask. Now, the other thing for time, you've heard me do this before, maybe you haven't, but you've all heard me do the 168-hour example. Have I done that with you guys before? Okay, well, even if I have, I'm going to do it again. Okay, now, this works primarily if you can see somebody like on Zoom. Okay, it could work if you're just talking to them. And once again, this has to be someone that you've had some kind of conversation with. I wouldn't just drop this bomb on somebody. Okay, so this is what I would suggest you do. Let me write this out. Okay, and I'll see if you can see this. Hold on a second. This is really impactful. Okay, so write it out like this. So you write 168 hours in a box, and on the left-hand side, you write work, sleep, eat, recreation. Work, sleep, eat, recreation. 168 hours in a box, work, sleep, eat, recreation. Okay, you guys got that? Okay, first of all, what's 168 hours? It's the amount of hours we all have in a week. Nobody has an hour more than 168 hours. It's how we invest that time that matters. Okay, so let's just say I'm talking to Debbie, and Debbie works. So I say to Debbie, Debbie, let me ask you a question. So how many hours a week are you currently working? Let's just say she's working the typical 40-hour week. So you write 40 next to work underneath the 168. Okay, it's like a math problem. Okay, how many hours a day do you sleep on average? Oh, I have to get 7 hours of sleep. Okay, well, 7 times 7 is 49 hours a week that you're sleeping. Write that down next to sleep. How many hours a day do you think you spend preparing meals and eating? Because how many of you know meal prep takes time? So how many hours a day do you think you're spending preparing meals, dinners, lunches, and eating? The average was about 3 hours. Okay, so just use that number. 3, 7, 21 hours. Okay, so now you've got work, sleep, and eat. Okay, now recreation is everything else you do that has nothing to do with you working, sleeping, and eating. Driving your kids to and from practice, or doing whatever, going to online Bible study at church, all these different things, everything that does not fall into work, sleep, and eat. How many hours a week do you think you invest doing all the extra stuff, going to the grocery store, all that stuff? The average number that people would give me would be 25. Okay, that was their average number. Okay, now let's do the math. I'll do it for you. 168 minus 40 for working, 49 for sleeping, 21 for eating, and 25 for recreation. Now you have 33. So write 33 there and circle that number. What does 33 represent? That represents the amount of unaccounted for hours that you have every week. So when I would do this exercise with somebody, and I would do it right in front of them, and I'd write it out, take my little phone calculator, and I'd say, Debbie, were you aware that you had 33 hours unaccounted for every week? Well, that's not true. That's impossible. Some people would tell me that. That's impossible. And I said, well, there's only two ways it's impossible. Either you gave me the wrong numbers or I subtracted incorrectly. So do you want to change? Do any of those numbers need to be changed? Are those accurate? Well, yeah, those are accurate. Great. Let me do the math again. Well, nope, Debbie, 33. Were you aware of the fact that you had 33 unaccounted hours for every week? Now, the average when I would do this, I've done this, I can't even tell you how many hundreds of times. The average was 25. That was the average week. So I would say to her, so Debbie, you've got time. The question is, what do you want to do with it? You've got time. What do you want to do with it? So let me ask you a question, Debbie. And now you can change this number, okay? I don't care what this number is. I'm just using an example. So Debbie, if you, my mind's going out, slow down. If you could take 10 hours a week of the 33, not all 33, just 10. If you would be willing, if I could help you take 10 hours of that time every week and help you and coach you and train you and show you how to develop a business that will allow you to buy your time back, to buy your life back, to make your own decisions, to do the things you want. $10 hours a week for you. Everybody froze. Oh, there we go. Okay. Would that be worth 10 hours a week for you? Now now I want you to think about this. What have I always taught you? And I know this sounds pretty bad, okay, but I always wanted to ask the questions that would make people sound pretty dumb if they said no to them. Okay? Or not dumb like dumb, but just like, did you really hear yourself? Listen, if I could take 10 of those 33 hours, 10, that means you still have 23 hours to just waste away. And I could coach you, mentor you, and train you and help you develop a business that will help to buy back your time, buy back your own life, give yourself the ability to, not have to work so hard and not have to struggle so much. If I could do that with just those 10 hours a week, would you be willing to invest those and let me help you? Can you imagine how you'd have to sound if you said no to that? No, I wouldn't do that. Okay, next. Right, on we go. What am I going to do? Not going to convince him. Okay, not going to convince him at all. But every time I did this with people, the minimum was 25 hours a week that they had unaccounted for. After you ate, slept, worked, and then everything else in your life that you did. 25 was the minimum. All this shows people is you've got time. It's just being wasted, not doing anything that's going to help you change your life. It is a powerful, powerful example. Because let me tell you something. Nobody can argue with you. They gave you the numbers. They verified the numbers. I didn't do it out of my head. I showed them on my little phone calculator. There it is, 33. I did it twice. They can't argue with the truth. The truth of the matter is that's how much extra time you have. So either you're willing to take some and let's do something with it, or you don't. But either way, it's your decision. And that's the bottom line. Now, with that said, let me also tell you something that I did in December, during this month specifically. I already knew in December all the crap I was going to be hearing. Well, call me after the holidays. Well, I'm too busy. Well, I don't have time. Hey, the Hallmark Channel has Christmas movies on. It's only once a year. I got to watch all the Hallmark Christmas movies, like my mother. Dude, God have mercy. I love my mom. But every time I go over, she's sitting in front of the TV watching these Hallmark Christmas movies, telling me about how sexy all the leading men are. My mother's 83 years old. My father's probably sitting in heaven going, are you serious? I'm like, Mom, I don't want to hear this. She said, oh, but he's so handsome. Okay, Mom, I really do not want to hear this. But these movies are amazing, right? People are sitting around watching Hallmark Lifetime movies. I already knew what was going to happen this month. Did I let it stop me? No. I used it to my advantage. So this is what I did. December, I did two things. I focused on building my business to build double volume this month for the contest, because we had our contest in December, just like you guys do. So I worked to build my business to create double volume for this month, and worked to create my follow-up list that will get me started next month. So I was building my business this month to earn double volume while I was building my follow-up list that would start me out next month. And the follow-up list were all the people that said all the things that I couldn't flip them. They just didn't want to, they weren't interested, didn't have time, call me later, blah, blah, blah. Great. I just wrote them on my follow-up list so that when January started and everybody's all stressed out, coming back from the holidays, oh man, what are we going to do? How is it going to have, I got to get things rolling, right? People always have a little bit of a challenge getting the month of January going. It always happens. Happened in my business. It's the middle of the month before people go, oh, it's finally happening. Not for me. Because January 4th, when I came back, or 3rd, I took out my list of 75 follow-ups, call me later, can't talk right now. And I had 75 people to kick off the new year with, and then have to worry about what am I going to do and how am I going to start talking to people. I built my follow-up list while I was building my business in the same month. That's how I never had any problems getting my new year started, because I had lots and lots of people to call. So if they tell you that, I'm going to try to see if I can get in to see them. And if it doesn't work, January. I don't even care if they say, call me back in 3 months. Okay, I'll call you in January. We'll see how the new year starts. At least check in with you. How was your holiday? How was everything going? Fantastic. Well, listen, maybe now. And then I had a whole list of people to follow up with, so that while everybody else was scrambling, trying to figure out what was going on, I was a week ahead of everybody else, because I built my follow-up list while I was building my business in the same month.
Which is creating a system.
Exactly right. And it's alleviating your frustration, because your mind's going, okay, not now, next month. So I'm creating in my mind, I'm building something now, but I'm also doing something next month. So I'm already going to kick the year off in style. So I'm just kind of, it didn't matter what people said to me. Listen, if you're not getting enough people saying yes, you need to talk to more people. Okay. December is a month, in my opinion, where you have to talk to more people than you might talk on a typical month, because people are distracted. People are unfocused. And let me tell you what people will tell you. Well, Jerry, December is a tough month. I don't know about this month. It's challenging. I can't get anybody to sit down and talk with me. It's too difficult. And my response to those people are, you're absolutely correct. It is difficult because that's what you think. It is hard to sit down because that's what you think. Because you are going to manifest what you think. And if you think that's how it is, there it is. In December, my mindset was, this will be my best month of the whole entire year, every year. And many years, it was. People have promoted to VPs in the month of December. So when you hear your team telling you that garbage, you just have to go, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's exactly how it's going to be if that's what you think. I choose not to focus on that. I think it's going to be an incredible month. It's going to be a great month. Yeah, but nobody wants to talk to me. Well, you've talked to everybody? Well, no, the few I did. Well, how many people have you talked to? 4. Oh, really? So you talked to 4 people and now everybody doesn't want to talk to you. Well, no, those 4. Okay, well, there's more people. Keep going. Keep trying. Doesn't matter. See, I refused to let my team marinate in their excuses. You want to marinate in your excuses? Do not do it around me, because I'll call you out of it every time. You want to marinate in your excuses? Do it in your own house. Do it when you're away from me. Because when you want to win, there's no excuses. Winners find a way. Right, Lindsay? Come on, somebody. Winners, they find a way. They don't make excuses. They figure it out. Okay, well, this isn't working. Great. How about if you try this? Well, that didn't do very well. Okay, well, what about this? Winners are always trying to figure out ways to get it done. Excuse makers try one thing, doesn't work. I'm out. See you in January. No, that's not the mindset you have. This is going to be my best month. Well, Jerry, I don't know how that's going to happen. Doesn't matter how. You have to believe it's possible before you'll ever get it done. If you don't believe it's possible, it'll never happen. So I always said, this is going to be my best month of the year. And I worked. And here's the other thing. I had fun. I had fun. So many people, they're walking around like a stress ball ready to explode. And they're wondering why nobody wants to be part of their team. Right? Their anxiety, their stress, the pressure. Doggone it, just have some fun. Enjoy the time. Enjoy the building. Enjoy the nose. Who cares? People are in their own worlds. Get the ones that you can, put the ones you can on a follow-up list, and have a great time. And enjoy the process. Because people are attracted to people that look like they're having a good time.
I think you froze again. Hopefully we'll get him back here. Can everybody hear me? Okay.
I have to cringe because when he was talking about the hours and then I get my like, and
Why
I know.
would they?
Oh,
Okay, are we back?
Yeah, you froze. We were all here.
No, I know. What's interesting is you all froze on my screen. So I know that when you froze, I froze on your screen. I'm having some internet challenges, but you know what? We just keep going. The enemy's like, oh, no, I don't want you to talk about that. Oh, no, I'm going to talk about it. I'm getting back on. I'm not done yet.
So
But
Jerry,
that's the bottom line. Have fun.
so when you were frozen, Lindsay was sharing something. So Lindsay, can you go ahead?
no, I was just saying like when we did the hour thing and we got down to it, like you always get at the end of the week how much your usage is per day on your phone. And like, I know I use my phone a lot for my business, but I also know I do a lot of scrolling. And so like, that just makes you like go, like it's just, when you start breaking stuff down like that, it really kind of gives you a reality check.
Lindsay, that is so true. That is the worst and best tool Facebook that our
Deep breath.
All right, there we go. I'm back. Okay. So anyway, I'm obviously having some internet challenges. Thank God this didn't happen on Saturday. Whew, I prayed up that big time. That would have been terrible. So I don't even remember what I was saying at the stage of the how long you've used your phone. Now, even I look at that, and my whole business is done on my phone, right? Everything I do is on my phone. But even when I look at that, I say, well, I didn't work all that time. So then I really try to figure out how much time did I really actually work on my phone and how much time I played on my phone. And even I find a couple hours a day, I'm like, wow, I need to change that. So that's one of my New Year's things is that I got to stop playing so much on my phone and start working. Because what happens is you lose track of what you're doing. All you want to do is, let me just take 5 minutes. Let me just take a lunch break, and I'm just going to scroll, see what people are putting up there, and just see if I need. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I got to respond to Linda's. And then you go back there, and then all of a sudden you're in a responding war on Facebook, and 2 hours later you haven't done anything. So it's very deceiving, but that's a great tool to use. And here's the thing. I'm trying to think of what I was going to say. I didn't freeze. I was trying to think of what I was going to say. So you go, he froze again. People, I say this all the time. My dad taught me this. People will invest their time and money in whatever they see value in. If they don't see value, why invest the time? If they don't see value, why invest the money? Our job is to show the value so that people want to invest the time to listen and want to invest the money to buy products or join your business. It's all about value. It's just like when people would ask me about hosting, well, I can't get my host to do anything. Well, what kind of value are you giving them? What value do they see? Do they just see, oh, I got to clean up my house and I got to have some snacks out so you can, what value is there for them in anything that you do? Where is the value of what you're doing? Because people will invest time and money in what they see value in. Like when I do my summits, they're $65. That does not mean they have no value. That just means that I care enough about people learning what I want to teach them that I give them a valuable price so that there's no excuse for them not to be part of it. See, it's all a difference of how you think. It's all your mindset. Somebody can say, well, Eric Worre charges $500. His must be more valuable than yours. No, but I guarantee you that at $65, there's a whole lot more people that can hear my message than might be able to hear Eric's. Eric's is a great message, but some people are left out of that $500 or $1,000 when you go see Tony Robbins. Some people can't do that. Well, how about you just start with me at $65 and build up your business, and then when you make the kind of money that you need to make, go see Eric Worre, go see Tony Robbins live. If you can do it now, do it now. But some people can't. So where are they going to get the training? How are they going to learn? They're going to come to me, and I'm going to let them learn for $65. That's just value. So you've got to do the same thing. What can I do to better present the value of what I'm offering? That's got to be your work on question during the rest of this year. How can I share more value? How can I get people to see the value? Part of your team. What can I do? I froze again. There we go. I am having some serious challenges with this internet. I'm trying to be very calm and very patient. Okay. But that's a good question to ask yourself. How can I share more value so people will say yes? Because it's all about value. It's all about value.
Jerry, I have a question around, there's a fine line as a leader, and we're all leaders on this call. What you said around, ask the truthful questions and creating a standard or a culture in your organization that is a no excuse zone. And allowing, because we can get caught up sometimes in the excuses and agree, sometimes agree with them. And so creating that standard, the high standard of what you want to create, but again, be that gentle giant, that allows people for you to be able to love them where they're at, and they don't feel like it's your way or the highway. Mm-hmm. So there's such a fine line in that leadership space. Can you?
Yeah, and you're right. It is a very fine line. You've all heard my story. You know, I used to have a banner in my office that said, "I don't make excuses, therefore I'm not listening to yours." And that was true. I had that in my office, but I could not put that up if I was a person who made excuses. So it first starts with us as the leader. We can't make them. So you can only accept what you make. If you're making excuses, you'll accept excuses. And even if you don't, it's easy to want to accept people's excuses. But you can call people out. And I mean, there's probably a better term for that. I don't mean in a mean way, but you can call people out in a loving way and let them know that, hey, you know, at the end of the day, I used to tell this to people when they would give me an excuse. Well, you know, I couldn't do this because of this. And I'd say, so Nicole, let me ask you something. If you were me and I said that to you, would you think that was a valid reason or a kind of wishy-washy excuse? What would you think? And I'd laugh when I said, well, what would you think? And they go, yeah, it's kind of a wishy-washy. Yeah, it's kind of what it was, okay? It's kind of a wishy-washy excuse. And so then we would have a conversation about it. But I would just make it fun so they didn't feel like I was condemning them or coming down on them. But as a great leader, leaders don't allow people to live in their excuses. You know, great lesson my coach taught me. When you sit down, you're sharing your business, you're sharing your products, one of you's buying. And I would always say to him, how's that possible? If I'm talking to somebody about my business, they're not selling anything. What am I buying? He said, no, you missed the point. He said, you're either going to buy their excuses for why they can't do it, or they're going to buy your reasons that they should. Either way, one of you is buying something. That was a game changer for me. I either buy their excuses or they buy my reasons. So my job was not to bash their excuses. My job was to increase their reasons why they should, why they need to. Hey, I understand that happened, but here's a reason why you got to plug in anyway. Here's the reason you got to work through it anyway. Here's the reason. So I was not acknowledging their excuse. I said, okay, yeah, that's great. That's what you think, but here's why. And then I would turn their mind to, this is the reason you got to do it. Because at the end of the day, there's many people who have the same excuse you do that are still getting it done. And so it is a very fine line. And it takes practice. People just want to, boop, there it is. No, it takes practice. You gotta learn how to walk that line with people. And sometimes not going to do a good job at it. I mean, I failed many times at the beginning where I was just way too direct and way too bold with people. And guess what? That's okay as long as you learn and grow from that. Oh, I can't do it like that. Oh, I can't say it like that anymore. But people knew, because I told people, I'm not going to take excuses, so don't come to me with yours. One last thing real quick, Linda, before I forget this thought. I did let them know there's a difference between an excuse and a reason. Okay? If your kid broke his leg and you had to take him to the hospital to get a cast on, that's a reason. If you have a muscle cramp in your leg and that caused you not to show up to a meeting, that's an excuse. Okay? So I try to discern that there's a difference between a reason and an excuse. If you have a reason for not being here, by all means, let me know. But if you're going to make an excuse for not being here, I prefer not knowing. So go ahead, Linda.
Well, I think Debbie had a perfect example of that on Saturday when she was listening to your training, and she ended up having to hop off and take her son to the emergency room. So.
Oh, Debbie, what happened? Is he okay?
Appendicitis.
Oh, no.
We didn't know that because, when you look up, I learned a lesson. Google doesn't know everything. He had a fever. You know, I always read when I Googled appendicitis and it kept saying side pain. He was doubled over. Like during your thing, Linda and I were texting and I said, gosh, Nate's been throwing up 13 times. I'm still on Jerry's call. I told my husband to handle it. And then an hour before yours ended, my husband opened the door and he said, I do not know what to do. He's doubled over in pain. I jumped off and he's got a very high tolerance of pain. He was doubled over and crying. And I was like, okay. And I said, Nate, where is it? And he goes, in the middle, Mom. Well, we took him in and it was appendicitis. They gave him morphine for the pain.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then he got worse. He got a fever. They weren't going to do the surgery till later. And then I had to go in and tell the nurses in the emergency room. And by the way, they were bombarded with COVID. It was like a scene out of, like what you see on TV where there's people in the hallways on gurneys. And this is like 5 a.m, by the way. So, and I live in a town of 150,000 people, but so I was just like, he's got a fever now, and then they rushed him up to surgery and he's fine. But I had a DA, I had a prospect call that day. I actually had 2 on Sunday. Linda filled in for me at 12:31 and the girl said, yes, imagine that. And then I said, and then she asked me to train Monday morning. Well, I had been up literally all night and I had maybe 2 hours sleep. And I said, I can't train. So she trained for me. And then the next morning I went to bed at 9 because I was beside myself. They didn't keep us overnight. They were supposed to because COVID was so bad in this hospital. But Linda came through and yes, I experienced it. And I know she accepted that, not as an excuse, but as a true emergency. But guess what? I had a 3:30 call with someone, a prospect, that I couldn't have Linda do it. I was tired. Nate was sleeping. And I said, all right, Debbie, do this. I know you're on lack of sleep, 20 minutes. And at the end of the 20 minutes, I said to him, could we do a call this week on Zoom so I could show you and share my screen? And he said, yes. And I thanked him for his time. I got off and I did it. And I wonder how many people would still have done that.
Right. Well, that's why you're a winner. First of all, I'm glad your son's feeling better. Thank goodness for that. I have not had appendicitis. I've had friends that had, and it was horrible. I want to give you just a quick example real quick before we have to wrap up here, but this is important. Just to help you decipher in your mind an excuse and a reason. Guy calls me up in my office. I'm out of town on vacation. I penned him to close our opportunity meeting. Calls me up 30 minutes before the meeting. Can't make it to the meeting. He stubbed his toe and he's in pain. I said, did you break it? No, but I'm in horrible pain. Okay, well, have your wife drive you to the office. Oh, she's at work right now. And I says, well, why can't you drive? Well, it's on my right foot, and when I put pressure on it, it hurts. I said, you understand we've got a meeting in 30 minutes and I'm out of town and I penned you to do this and you're not going to show up because you have a stubbed toe? Yeah, but I'm in pain. All right, buddy, whatever. So I had to go find somebody to do it, right? Okay, that's an excuse. Hey, Jerry, I'm so sorry. I busted my toe. I broke it. I got to go to the doctor and get it put into a cast or get it fixed. That's a reason. Stub toe excuse, broken toe, reason. Okay? Oh, Jerry, I didn't make it to me. I had a headache. You had a headache? I have a headache every day. What do you mean you didn't show up because you have a headache? Excuse. Jerry, I couldn't get there. I had a massive migraine headache. My head was going to explode. I couldn't get off the couch. Reason. You guys get what I'm talking about? There's that fine line between an excuse and a reason. Well, the moment you start accepting the excuses, the moment you enable them to keep making them. Come on, somebody. The moment you accept the excuse, you enable them to keep making them. No excuses. If it's an excuse, we're going to call you out in a loving way. If it's a reason, I understand. I understand. And that's what you have to decipher as a leader. Is this an excuse or is this a reason? You know, the whole thing. Like your son. Oh, Jerry, I was home. My stomach was hurting. Are you okay? Oh, I just had a whole humongous Mexican dinner and it just didn't sit well. I was in agony. Really? Okay, well, that happens to me too, but that's an excuse in my book, just to me. Jerry, I'm doubled over in pain. I had appendicitis and had to get to the hospital. That's a reason. Okay? See, it's a fine line, but you'll start knowing which is which and what you will accept and what you won't accept. You'll start learning the difference. And then you'll listen to them and you'll go, listen, if you were me, okay, and I just said that to you, I mean, honestly, do you think that's kind of an excuse or a reason? I mean, come on, what do you think? And I would say it like that because then it would be obvious to them. Yeah, that kind of sounded like an excuse. Yeah, it kind of did, didn't it? Right? Okay, well, we're not going to make excuses. Okay, it's done, it's over. Now let's move on. And then let's move on to whatever's next. Not going to marinate in your excuses with you. So just some little tidbits to help you out there.
Well, and especially when when they've told you what they want and you know what they want and they're coming up with excuses, that's when, and I love this, that, Donna Johnson trained on this several times, but, she would say, just draw out a little box. And then when they're calling, for accountability, and they start in with their excuses, you just say that, there's no room in this box for a story. There's only room for a number. How many people did you talk to this week?
I love that.
And there's no shame, no stories, but there's no room in this box for stories. So that's, again, that being able to ask the truthful questions because you understand what they want, because you know them well enough, they've shared that with you. And then being able to say, has there something changed since we spoke?
That's a great question, by the way. I used to ask people that all the time. This is a really powerful, just a one word difference to that question, Linda, because I used to ask people this all the time. Has your desire to accomplish your goals changed? Because let me tell you what I learned. If your desire to accomplish your goals have changed, there is nothing I can do for you. And here's what would happen sometimes. I'd say, so Linda, has your desire to accomplish the goals you shared with me changed? Well, no, it hasn't changed, but, and what comes after the but? The excuses, right? Well, now I'm going to handle that. I'm going to work on that. But if they tell me, yeah, Jerry, my desire is just not there. I just don't have the desire to achieve these goals anymore. What are you going to do for that person? That's my turn off link. Okay, well, I'm done. Nothing I can do. If you have no desire to achieve your goals, I can't have more desire than you do. That's why the question was so important. Has your desire to accomplish your goals changed? And most of the time they say, no, I still want to accomplish my goals, but, and then here came all the excuses. And but I love that. See, that's boldly direct. There's no room in this box for stories, only numbers. So just give me your numbers. I love that. Boy, I wish I would have known that in my biz. I would have used that. But that's how you do it. And you say, well, what if somebody gets offended by that? Not your problem. I didn't ask them to offend them. I asked them a question. If they get offended, that's their issues, not yours. And anyone that gets offended by that question won't make it here long term anyway. If that offends somebody, they're going to be gone sooner than you think. So I love that question. I'm going to write that down. That's a great question.
Yeah,
there's no room for stories.
And just prefacing it.
Take 4.
Yeah. By saying no shame, no stories. And then if they continue with the excuses, that's when you need to be clear as a leader and say, you know what, I'm here when you're ready, but I have got to be working with those that are ready.
Yep.
which is
Yeah.
telling them your time is valuable.
Yeah, that's what leaders do. You can't expect people to value what you don't. You can't expect people to value your time if you don't value your own time. That's why you got to value your time. And just like Linda said, hey, listen, when you're ready, I'm here. But right now, and this is what I used to say. You don't have to say this, but I used to tell people right now, you are marinating in way too many excuses. You need to get rid of that. And when you do, I'll be here for you. But I'm not going to jump in the misery with you. I'm just not going to do it. So when you're done with your excuses, you come back, I'll be here for you. But right now, I got to go work with people who are ready to get going and ready to play the game right now. You obviously, it's not the right time. That's okay.
And you know what that really measures is the law of attraction.
Yep.
Because you're going
Absolutely.
to be
Right.
attracting the quality of people that you want to you, rather than, letting everybody run over you, which is exhausting.
Oh, it's beyond exhausting. And you can't let people run over you, because if you let them run over you, they'll back up over you too. And they'll keep coming back to keep running over, because they know, well, Debbie lets me run over her all the time. Nicole lets me run over her all the time. Hey, Kathy she just lays down on the floor, lets me run all over her, right? And once they know they can do that, they don't stop. Yeah. And people knew my business, you're not running over me. Okay, not going to happen.
And they respect you more for that, because with my team, we have team trainings on Sunday night, and I've gotten to the point, even with your calls, Jerry, our Monday night calls or Sunday, I'll say to my team, go, whoever's on is on. I don't need to know why you can't be on, but if you can't be on, I want to know what you've taken away. Tell me what you loved about the recording. And I will get texts from my team members saying, I love this about Jerry's call. Or I love that about the Sunday night call I couldn't be on. They won't tell me why, but at least they were, because they know now I don't need to hear the text from that. Can be, if you're on.
Love it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mean to interrupt you, JB. I'm sorry.
I was done.
Oh, okay. I was like, how terrible, Jerry. No, but I love that. I don't need to know why. If it's an excuse, keep it. I don't need to hear. If it's a reason, let me know. But if it's an excuse, keep it. I don't need that. I love that. But here's the thing. Respect is earned, not given. And if you want to earn respect as a leader, act like one, and you'll earn respect. And people respect a leader that speaks the truth. Actually, the right people respect the leader that speaks the truth in love.
Right.
Go ahead, Debbie.
One last thought. I love how Linda has said to us before too, about if you owned a box business, brick and mortar business, and you had a headache, do you think you wouldn't go into work? It's like, then you ask somebody, are you treating this like a business, or are you treating it like a hobby?
Absolutely. Without a doubt. 100%. 100%. So anyway, my friends, I didn't realize I had another call. So I got to get on another call.
Thank you.
I love you guys. I could stay on here for another hour. This was fun. I love it. Fireside chats are always great. Great things come out of them. And Linda will be back next week with a training call, and we'll wrap up the year in style.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for being on. Thanks, Jerry.
All right. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.